everybody. Thanks for coming to my impromptu clinician-led training, sort of, kind of, maybe a little. So I would like to present to you all today on the intersection of women's mental health and spirituality and religion. So I'll be covering some of the strengths and challenges that these identifiers bring to clients, as well as tools specifically tailored to build strength, confidence, self-knowing for women and spiritual practitioners. So hold on to your hats. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now let's see if I can get this to work. Here we go. Sure did. All right. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of tabs. So we are all holistic practitioners for the most part, right? And as a holistic practitioner, we often ask clients about literally everything, right? Gender and sex, age, race, socioeconomics, culture, religion, spirituality, genetics, health conditions, medication, family dynamics, relationships, and so on, probably for forever. So we're just going to be looking at two of those today: gender, specifically identifying as a woman, and spirituality, mostly referring to Western forms and practices of spirituality. So for the purpose of this presentation, let me define those things, okay? And I should also say, side note, many of the studies that I found did not take into consideration transgendered women. So that's a whole other area of study that needs to be done. Disclaimer. So gender, and this is a confusing one, but I'm going to give you one definition, and I'm sure there's several, as defined by the Webster Dictionary. The behavioral, cultural, or physiological traits typically associated with one sex. Okay. Again, we could probably give many definitions, but that's just one. And spirituality, again, one that could probably have many definitions, we're going to define today as the quality of being concerned with the human spirit, soul, or energy, as opposed to material or physical things. Did anybody else have anything to add to those definitions? Anything that I should probably know and include in the future? No, those feel good? Okay. Cool beans. So let's start with just a few basic mental health stats amongst women. And the reason that I chose to specifically work with women, we're a all women's owned company. So I think it's just something to be passionate about, but that does not mean that we don't work with other genders, right, at this practice. So according to the CDC and the Office on Women's Mental Health, more than 1 in 5 women in the United States have experienced a mental health condition in the past year. That's a lot. It's a lot. Women are twice as likely as men to be diagnosed with depression in their lifetime. And women are more than twice as likely as men to get an anxiety disorder in their lifetime. Finally, nearly 1 in 4 women, 24.7% if you'd like to know, received mental health treatment in the past 12 months, compared with 13.4% of men. Women were more likely than men to have taken a medication for their mental health. That's 20% of women versus 10% of men, respectively, and have received counseling or therapy from mental health professionals, 11% of women and 7% of men in the last 12 months. So to me, after seeing some of this research, it's clear that women hold quite a few more vulnerability factors when it comes to mental health. And this could come from a lot of different places, right? Like talking about sexism, generational trauma, the glass ceiling, and the patriarchy, just to name a few. More to come, probably. But regardless of why it's important to know, people who identify as a woman may come into a session with more vulnerability factors. However, this research also tells us that women have just a touch more, just a teeny bit more self-awareness sometimes, maybe than other genders, and will seek help more freely. I'm sure there's lots of barriers to that as well, which as holistic practitioners, we acknowledge. But these are just, again, some very quick level, high level stats. So let's jump into our first activity. Were you all able to print out the values worksheets? Yes. I mean, you can maybe figure out how to fill it out on your computer, but I couldn't because I think they're images. So what we can do to strengthen women, okay, or female identifying clients. This is a project that I do with all of my clients regardless, but awareness is an important part of growth and internal peace. Women as a collective deserve to know themselves and what is important to them. So let's take a moment to fill out the worksheet. Follow the directions at the top of the page, and when you are finished, look up at your screens. And of course, I'm here if you have any questions. I think the directions are pretty straightforward. How we all doing? Thumbs up like we're done. Okay, done. Great. Awesome. All right. So I will give just a little insight on why I like this with clients and why this is important. So values are important because they help us make decisions that align with who we are and what we believe in. Most of us know that. But for the purpose of this slideshow, I'll just explain. They can also help build a sense of community and better understanding of who we are as individuals. So let's say that we have a value of truth or true friendship, excuse me. We may choose to surround ourselves with people who put time, care, and effort into friendships, right? Or if we have like a value of wealth, we may ask for guidance from coworkers or people who are knowledgeable with finance. So values can even help us with dealing with uncomfortable feelings or feelings that we quite don't understand. So example, if we have a value of honesty and one day we see one of our friends lie, because they're our friend, we don't put them down. That probably means you have a value of true friendship also, right? We don't call them out on their lie. But afterwards, we felt kind of guilty or angry, confused, and questioning about the situation. After truly assessing, maybe this person understands their values, right? We can tell that our value of honesty was dishonored that day. And this gives us a clue on how to soothe those feelings and that confusion, and also maybe like a tangible solution-focused action to take. So if you all would, that second sheet, or if you wrote it down or whatever, we're just going to work with like the must-have values. Okay, so it's broken up into two sections. I just want you to work with the must-have section. Would anybody want to share a couple of their values? Anybody?
I can go if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
The must-have values that I selected were curiosity, independence, inner harmony, respect, protection of the environment, and unity with nature.
Ooh, yes. So what's one way that you have honored one of those values today?
I took a nice little stroll outside to be connected with nature.
Yes, lovely. See, it can be just that simple.
Yep.
All right. Anybody else like to share? You don't have to. Just asking.
I'll go. Self-respect, enjoyment of life, unity with nature, spiritual life, so fitting for today's talk, meaning in life, and a sense of belonging.
Excellent. Okay. What's one way that you honored one of those values today?
Well, since Katie already mentioned going for a walk, I won't do that one, although that's what came up because of how beautiful it is outside. I think, well, even like a spiritual life, like being part of this conversation today feels really good. Doing some work with like tarot cards, just like pulling angel cards is another thing I did within the last 24 hours. I could go on, but I'll stop there.
Okay. All right. And then do you want to share, Rachel, or you want me to keep going?
No, I was going to say I can share. I have a lot, so I won't go over all of them, but
You do like 10.
Yeah, the ones that I wrote down, self-respect, enjoyment of life, independence, inner harmony, honesty, loyalty, spiritual life, meaning in life, mature love, and sense of belonging. And I guess one that I've done today, I would say maybe true friendship slash like loyalty that I've kind of done today. Just, hanging out with some of my closest friends like later on. Also checking in with them, seeing how they're doing, just, making sure that we're still always like connecting with people. So that's what I've done today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, those are great, you guys. And what's cool about values is like there's no right or wrong, right? It's like values are all innately neutral. It just helps us inform our decision making and what we choose to do. So this is a great exercise to start with clients if you need just a little bit more information. It's one that can be brought back up throughout sessions, right? And for the purpose of this slideshow, right, it's strengthening for that identity and that self-awareness for women to be able to make their own decisions in their life. So, all right, so now let's dive into the other side of this presentation, which is this idea of spirituality and the connection with mental health, actually. So, disclaimers, okay? These findings only account for like mostly Western religions, okay? A different finding was sometimes made for certain Eastern religions, which I don't have time to delve into today, okay? I'm just giving that disclaimer. So, according to the National Library of Medicine and the World Psychiatry Association, all of which will be cited at the end, okay? Number one, higher levels of spirituality and religion are generally associated with lower depressive symptoms, are generally associated with lower substance use, AA, right? Though we could probably go into a whole presentation on how to make AA work without some sort of religious deity, right? Three, spirituality and religion can serve as a buffer against post-traumatic stress disorder, generally increasing the psychological growth factor. And four, there are some mixed findings for the helpfulness of spirituality and religion within disordered eating communities, OCD, and some anxiety-related disorders. And I'm assuming this is like especially for OCD if any of like the ritualistic behaviors are involved with religious views or spirituality views. One other one that I didn't note on here was within schizophrenia. Religion and spirituality was not helpful if the hallucinations were related to religion or spirituality, right? That's pretty straightforward, but I hadn't really thought about that. Versus if their hallucinations were not related to spirituality in any way, shape, or form, then some sort of spiritual practice was helpful. So, the study that I found was actually like a conglomeration of studies from over a bunch of years. And so again, I've cited that at the end of this article. And if you want more information, it's very, very helpful. I really liked it because it did point out the limitations of like the studies that were done. And I think there's still a lot of research to be done on the importance or helpfulness of spirituality and mental health and the connection, right? But I overall think that it's safe to say that some sort of energetic or spiritual practice is beneficial to managing or limiting mental health vulnerability factors. So as a reminder, spirituality is the concern with the human energetic body or spirit, which is partially what we do as holistic mental health practitioners, right? We deal with like the person's psyche or energy. So let's tie this in. How can we continue to strengthen our own energetic practices? Again, not talking about a deity, not talking about a god, just our energetic spiritual practices. So I believe that mindfulness can be an essential building block to that, or to just overall mental health stability, right? And so what is it again? We maybe all know the definition, but I'm going to define it for us again, okay? Mindfulness is awareness of one's internal states, feelings, thoughts, and surroundings, such as sights, sounds, sensations, tastes, and smells. It is the understanding and the mental acknowledgement of what is actually happening now versus what is happening in my mental world. Not just my mental world, but everybody's mental world. So mindfulness can and should be practiced regardless of our spiritual views. So let's build on mindfulness. Again, a skill that I think most of us use in our practice, right? I have a video, not because I like what's going on in the video, but because I wanted the music. Give me a second to make sure that that works, and I have to adjust the sound, okay? So give me a second. It's a very nice man beating on a drum. Okay, so hold on. It's going to be too loud probably. Oh no, it stayed. Oh, that's great. All right. How is that volume, you guys? Lovely, just kind of like nice in the background. Great. So we're going to build on this idea of mindfulness, and I'm going to you guys through a mindfulness gratitude meditation. Okay, so in my opinion, gratitude is almost a surefire way of practicing being present, especially if we're noting the things that we're grateful for in the here and now. So over the next few minutes, if y'all don't mind, getting kind of comfy, leaning back in your chairs, putting your feet flat on the ground. Yep, you can turn your videos off if you're comfortable with that. I don't care. I'm going to be reading, so I'm not going to be staring at you, but definitely for comfortability, I understand. So go ahead, sit up right in your chair, feet flat on the ground. And when you feel ready, go ahead and close your eyes or soften your gaze, looking out past the end of your nose at something. Go ahead and take a few moments to breathe through your nose, out through your mouth. Slowing your breath down and taking time to fully empty your lungs as you do. Start to notice your breath and see if you can feel how your chest and belly rise and fall as you breathe. Feel your clothes on your body shift slightly as you do. Notice the soft, rhythmic feeling of cold air entering your nose and throat and warm air escaping as you exhale. As you find rhythm in your breath, slowly start to shift your attention to the sounds. The sounds around you, focusing on the sound of my voice, or the sound of the music, the cars on the street. Perhaps the furnace just kicked on. Even focusing on the sound that your breath makes as you breathe in and out. Gently noticing the sounds around you, draw your attention to one sound, as soft or as small as it may be, that fills you with wonder and curiosity. Listen to that sound. Focus in your attention on that sound. And I want us all together to take a deep breath in collectively through our nose, thanking the sound for the presence in this meditation, and then exhaling slowly through the mouth. As you continue to breathe, practice this action, breathing in, thanking a physical sensation for being with you at this moment, and exhaling any thoughts or feelings that are troubling you. Exhaling impatience, worry, or doubt. Breathing in, thinking of the softness of your chair or seat for supporting you, and exhaling any tightness in your body. Inhale. Thank the warmth of the room for being with you. Exhale. Discomfort and urgency. Thank your greater self for being present in this moment. Breathing in and out. Thanking the things that are around us, sensations on our skin, the sounds in our ears, the smells in the room if you have. When you all feel ready, following the sound of my voice, take one final big deep breath in. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and have a long exhale out through your mouth. Take your time, coming back to the moment, which we kind of already are in, honestly. Take a moment to open your eyes when you're ready and blink the fogginess away. Tap back into the sensation of sight, which we've done to this point. Maybe take a moment just to look around you and be thankful for something very, very small and seemingly insignificant in the room next to you. Thanking it for its presence being here. And then thanking your higher self for acknowledging. All of the things around us serve purpose. And taking a moment most days to stop and acknowledge them brings us to this moment, the now, the here. I could low-key listen to this guy all day. Same. I know. I know. All I did was type in meditation music and he popped up and I'm like, I'm just going to keep him on my computer and listen every so often. So, this meditation can be used in so many different ways. This was kind of tailored to like our experience where we are now. But this can be transformed, thanking our higher selves, right? That kind of language. Thanking the sensations, which we did today around us, to somebody who is more on that religious side, knowing their deity that they pray to and thanking that deity. This really can be tailored to all of our clients' spiritual or non-spiritual needs. So love that. Questions about this meditation? Questions about this form of meditation? I think we've all used something similar to this, but how it was incorporating the senses and things. We feeling loosey-goosey? Feeling warm and loved? Yes. Okay. Oh, no, it's going to start playing again. No, Bellman, I know, you're great. We love you, buddy. This took me a second to figure out how to... Oh, God, Jesus, it's just doing it again. Can do this. I'm not technologically challenged at all. All right. So we have one more thing to do today, which involves drawing, but just to wrap up the things that we talked about, because we burned through a lot of topics in a very short amount of time. So as women, understanding our values and knowing ourselves can be an important tool to building self-esteem and mental awareness, right? This is important for all of our clients, but especially for those that come in with extra vulnerability factors. Mindfulness can be a building block for a healthy spiritual practice, but more importantly, just a basic skill for anyone wanting to better their mental health. And finally, a gratitude practice can be a direct way of practicing mindfulness and can be incorporated into daily living, as well as, just being grateful for the things around us. So, do y'all have your art materials? Okay, we're going to draw. So you should have some sort of paper taped to a solid surface, because we're going to go back into a little bit of a meditative state. Not much, okay, because you still kind of got to be present. You are going to close your eyes if you're comfortable with it, okay? So I want you all to acknowledge what a circle is. We all know what a circle looks like, correct? It's a pretty easy shape. It's one of the first shapes we learn, and we all know how to draw a circle, right? Show me on your screens in the air that you can draw a circle. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Who's left-handed? There's two of you? Oh my God. Wow, this is great. So everybody's born in April and everybody's left-handed. Okay, so when you guys are feeling comfortable, again, we've practiced that shape. We know what it feels like. We're going to translate that onto the paper. I want you to pick a color, okay? Whatever color you feel represents you, okay? Maybe it's your favorite color. Maybe it's a color that speaks to you. I don't care. Okay, and when you're ready, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to repeat this shape of drawing a circle, but on your paper, okay? And we're going to make it a little bit repetitive, okay? A little bit of dance movement here, okay? We're moving our arms in a circular shape on our paper with that color. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, you can just look at me. I'm doing this movement with you. And we're just going to repetitively, overlapping, if you will, that same circular shape. Over and over again. Keep going. Keep going. Then, to spice things up, I want you to switch hands. Okay, we're not looking at our circle because, again, we all know what a circle looks like. It's not about how round the circle is. It's not about how heavy we're pushing down. With your opposite, your non-dominant hand, I'm sorry. Please draw a circle the opposite direction. Not looking at said circle, continuing that shape round and round, creating some sort of flow with your hand and your wrist. With your non-dominant hand, it should feel just a little funny. You can get your whole body involved in it if you want. I do. You don't have to. All right, in 3, 2, 1, hands up. Good job, everybody. You drew a circle. Now, you should have something that represents a circle on your paper. Does anybody want to show it? You don't have to talk. You can just show me your circles. Beautiful circle. Beautiful circle. Beautiful circle. They're perfect. Excellent. This process, though, that you guys just experienced is part of the guided drawing class that I'm going to be taking over the next 8 weeks. This is just a taste of that, but it's movement-based art therapy. And the circle is very representative of a feminine energy, a feminine shape, all round shapes. Okay. And this shape today is going to be representative of us. This is you. Okay. Inside your circle, I want you to pick a couple of your must-have values and write them down in any order, in any orientation, in any color. Doesn't matter. But again, this circle is representative of you. And when you're ready, you can take as long as you want on those values. Okay, you could write down every single one if you want. I would like for you all to use colors around the outside of your circle to draw images, shapes, patterns that represent like your spirit, your higher power, your energy, right? Or just the love and protection that you give yourself. Okay, so there's no right or wrong way to do this. You can use whatever colors make sense to you. And if you need more assistance, if you need more direction, please let me know because I'm happy to give it to you. Because I know that can sometimes be a little anxiety producing to have that open-endedness of use color, line, and shape to make your spirit. What? Your energy. Now, this would be the part, you guys, if I was in person with you leading this directive, which none of what we do is in person, but if I was, I'd be walking around the room, checking with each of you individually. How does that feel? What's going on for you? So it wouldn't be quite as strange because I wouldn't just be like staring at you. Take about 2 more minutes to create this like energy around your circle. You know, in other ways that you can phrase this with your clients, I was just thinking about this, like the circle is very representative of like the physical human body, right? And then the outside is very representative of like the energetic human body, which is funny to think about it being opposite. But and then again, if your client is religious, like worships a deity of sorts, that would be their physical body and then their deity's protection or love. If their deity is loving. I know some can be a little harsh. So I'm not sure where Jenna is at. We got about 1 minute. 1 minute to kind of wrap that up. And then, of course, I'm going to want to see them, you guys. If you're comfortable sharing, you do not need to share, but I feel like a collective show and tell of just like, this is what I need, look, would be great when you're ready. I can count down if you want, so you can do it all at once. Hold on, wait a minute. What'd you guys all use to draw? What'd you pick? What were your materials? Okay, wait, I can't see. Oh, we got some gel pens, markers, and colored pencils. So people don't just have art materials in their house. They don't just like, you guys don't keep markers. That's not a thing. All right. If you all are comfortable, let's do a show and tell. I've already showed you mine. That one was mine. Okay, up on the screen. So 3, 2, 1. Vulnerability. What did you draw? Yay! Beautiful. Yes, and again, another lovely directive that it's like there's no right or wrong because this is all your own personal understanding. It's just very telling for us as therapists and eye-opening for clients. So this is something that you can sit and talk about. Why did they choose the colors they chose? How did this feel? Did this feel good? Did this feel yucky, right? Is there some strengthening that needs to be done in this area? Who knows? But fun nonetheless. So with that being said, let's wrap up. So for the purpose, because this is being recorded, I did put a little disclaimer on here that this presentation is not meant to diagnose or treat any mental health disorders. This is a presentation for information only. Okay. On the right, I have all the resources that I used online. And the very, very last one right here, that's the article for the, or the link for the article that was talking about all the studies done with like spirituality and religion and things with all the findings and stuff. So I also did do a little blurb on Head First Health because this is a presentation that I hope to use in another area with people who don't work for Head First Health. But there's us, there's our beautiful faces, they're beautiful pictures. Excellent. All right. Thank you all so much for coming to my TED Talk. It's been a pleasure presenting to you, and I appreciate the opportunity. Now we have time for just questions. I know we're a little bit over on time. If anybody has questions, thoughts, things to add, areas to study, points to make.
I loved the drawing. I'm continuing mine. Just keep going at it. I guess a question or maybe just like an observation, a little mix of both is I guess I never thought to put values like I guess mindfulness a little bit more, but specifically like values, mindfulness in the language of spirituality. So that's like really neat, like to tie it to be able to. And so I guess part of my question is like with values, would you guide a client through or recommend just like noting that language, noting like, hey, your values can be like an inner essence, an inner, because like trying to describe values and trying to describe like spirit are both a little like difficult.
Yeah, values being like our guiding principles, the things that help us make decisions, right? Those are more like the tangible laws of the earth, right? But those come from a feeling, from an essence of who we are. And again, I think we could go into all the things that shape our values, one of which is just our being, who we are essentially, which is what that energetic body or spirit is. But there's also like the vulnerability factors we're talking about, or not even vulnerability, but like, what's a word for those? Like the holistic practitioner thing where we know about like people's family dynamics and like all of that stuff forms our values too. So I think it's a nice bridge, a nice way to bridge the conversation between the like physical body, right? The here and now, and then like the internal mind or the energetic body.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Values come from an essence of who we are. And that essence, we can use that language of spirituality, spirit, to kind of start that conversation.
Yeah. And I think what's funny is just like there's so many different words for those things. And I know we've had the conversation of like how us as mental health practitioners are somewhat of like that new age, almost like spiritual, like shaman practitioners, right? Because we talk about like intuition and how that kind of plays a role in mental health. And like we're doing our best to like find those scientific findings and backing everything up with facts, right? But there's still so much that we need to research. And I think that this is, again, just a very high level view of areas that we already know about and connecting those with things that we still don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Thank you.
Hey, any other thoughts, feedback, questions? I'll send you all the link to the drumming man. He was cool. But this is something too that I'm gonna, I mean, I can just share this presentation with you guys. So it's just available for us. And I also really, I don't know if Jenna likes this format, if anybody else wants to use these colors. This was a Google slide show option. Like it was just a template.